Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zeroing in on, well, the biggest game in European club football, the UEFA Champions League final 2025.
That's right. It's Paris Saint-Germain against Inter Milan,
Yeah.
May 31st, Allianz Arena, Munich. Huge stakes.
Huge, right? PSG still chasing that first ever Champions League title, While Inter, they're looking for number 4.
Exactly. And they both got here to some pretty intense semifinals. PSG saw off Arsenal 3-1 aggregate with Ruiz pulling strings, Hakimi bombing forward.
Yeah, and Inter. Wow, that 7-6 aggregate win over Barcelona was just unbelievable for Tessie, Martinez stepping up big time.
Totally wild. And it sets up this amazing contrast in styles, doesn't it? PSG, Luis Enrique's 4-3-3, all about possession, high XG, that attacking flair people love.
Right. Versus Inzaghi's Inter, that pragmatic 3-5-2, happy to concede possession sometimes, but incredibly solid defensively. Real defensive grit, as their fans would say.
It's fascinating tactically. How do these completely different philosophies clash on the pitch?
Yeah.
And really, within that bigger picture, it often comes down to key individual battles.
That's what we're digging into today. Those one-on-one duels that could genuinely decide who lifts the trophy.
Let's get straight into it then.
Okay, first up, PSG's electrifying left winger, Kvaratskhelia, against Inter's right wing back, Dumfries. Kvaratskhelia or Kvaradona, he's just been such a spark.
He really has. 10 progressive carries in the semifinal alone assisted Hakimi's goal. His stats are impressive, nearly 3 successful dribbles per 90, key passes, that 60% success rate in 1v1s. He's a nightmare for defenders.
He is. And Dumfries, well, he's got a massive job on his hands trying to stop him. Defensively, he's strong, Good tackle numbers, interceptions, wins his aerial duels.
And he offers a threat going forward, too. Makes progressive passes and, crucially, scored that header against Barca in the semis. Shows his danger in the box.
So here's the really interesting part, tactically. Kvaratskhelia loves to drive right at defenders. If Dumfries pushes high up the pitch, like wingbacks often do,
He could leave space behind, yeah. Which Kvara is perfect to exploit.
Exactly. And while Inter, amazingly, concede the fewest dribbles in the whole competition, PSG, according to Football Best Moments, have completed the most successful dribbles over the last decade. It feels like something has to give there.
That's a brilliant point, but flip it around. Inter score, what, a third of their goals from set pieces?
Right. A huge percentage.
And Dumfries is a real aerial threat. PSG have looked a bit shaky defending set play sometimes. So while Kvara's dribbling is the obvious danger,
Dumfries could pop up with a crucial goal himself from a corner or a free kick. It's a fantastic duel. PSG's attack, Kvara's individual magic, their higher XG, versus Dumfries' power and Inter's overall defensive strength.
And don't forget PSG's line-breaking passes. If Kvara can make that initial break, it could open things up.
So the decider here. Maybe Kvaratskhelia creates that bit of magic, a goal or assist that unlocks Inter. Or does Dumfries shut him down and maybe nick a goal at the other end?
It's massive for the game's flow, definitely.
Okay, battle number 2. This one's central. Inter's captain Lautaro Martinez up against PSG's defensive leader Marquinhos.
Ooh, yeah. Martinez, he's been on fire. 9 goals in the Champions League this season. And his conversion rate in the knockouts, 75%. That's clinical.
Incredible. Plus his movement off the ball, that partnership with Thuram. It's a constant headache for defenses.
And Marquinhos is the guy tasked with stopping him. He's PSG's rock at the back. Good clearances, tackles, composed on the ball even under pressure. He handled Arsenal's attack well.
True, but, some say his record against really sharp, agile strikers isn't perfect. And Martinez is exactly that type of player.
Yeah, that's the worry for PSG. Martinez is brilliant at finding space, exploiting a high line of PSG push-ups. His movement could really test Marquinhos' positioning.
It's that classic striker versus defender battle, isn't it? Marquinhos has immense experience, over 100 Champions League games. But Inter get the ball into dangerous areas well, they could try and isolate him.
Definitely. If Martinez gets away from him, Inter's counterattack is lethal. But if Marquinhos bosses him, keeps him quiet, it gives PSG that platform to control the game with their possession.
Plus, you have the Inter set-piece threat again, putting more pressure on Marquinhos in his own box.
So it boils down to, can Martinez continue his hot streak and really spark Inter? Or does Marquinhos use all his experience to nullify him and keep PSG in control? Pivotal.
Absolutely. Right, let's shift to the midfield engine room. Inter's maestro, Çalhanoğlu versus PSG's young dynamo, Neves.
The battle for control. Çalhanoğlu is so key for Inter. Those key passes, the long balls, and his set-piece delivery is just outstanding. Scored that vital penalty in the semi, too. Football Best Moments highlights how involved he is in their goals, especially from set plays, dictates their tempo.
He really does. But then you have João Neves for PSG. What a find he's been. His tackling numbers are, well, frankly ridiculous, led the Champions League for ages, and his pressing is nonstop.
Very impressive. Great pass accuracy, too. Makes crucial ball recoveries. He's the anchor that lets PSG's fancy passing game work, right? Provides that security.
Exactly. So this is a fascinating contest. Çalhanoğlu's set pieces are a massive danger, especially given PSG's occasional struggles defending them. But Neves' pressing could completely disrupt Çalhanoğlu's rhythm.
It's a real tactical chess match. Can Çalhanoğlu find the space to pick those killer passes for Martinez, or will Neves just suffocate him, win the ball back high up, and let PSG launch attacks?
It feels like Neves' energy versus Çalhanoğlu's craft and set-piece threat. If Neves dominates that area, PSG probably control the game.
But if Çalhanoğlu delivers from a dead ball, or starts dictating from deep, it could totally swing the momentum towards Inter.
So the decider here is likely either a Çalhanoğlu set-piece goal or assist, or Neves just winning that midfield battle for PSG.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, fourth key matchup. Let's go back out wide, the other flank. PSG's Ousmane Dembélé against Inter's Federico Dimarco.
Another exciting one. Dembele, when fit, is so dangerous. PSG's top scorer in the competition. Involved in lots of goals, dribbling, taking players on, got that assist in the semis. The big question mark is always his fitness, though. There have been some whispers.
Always seems to be, yeah. And Dimarco on Inter's left, very effective, good passer, solid defensively, but really key for their attacks down that side with his crossing.
His defensive work rate is going to be tested, though. Dembele is so direct, so unpredictable.
That's the thing. Can Dembele exploit the space if Dimarco ventures forward? PSG love players who take opponents on, and that flank seems like a prime target.
It does. But then Dimarco's delivery into the box for Martinez is a huge weapon for Inter. He needs to pick his moments defensively, stay disciplined against Dembele's pace and trickery.
Like Kvaratskhelia on the other side, Dembele could really stretch that inner back three if he's on his game. Dimarco needs to be switched on constantly.
But Dimarco's crosses are potentially game-winning too. And yeah, Dembele's fitness is definitely the X-factor in this specific duel.
So, is it Dembele producing that moment of magic to open Inter up? Or does Dimarco manage to contain him and deliver a killer cross for Inter?
That sums it up nicely.
All right, finally, the last line of defense. The goalkeepers. Gianluigi Donnarumma for PSG, Jan Sommer for Inter.
Often overlooked before a final, but potentially the match winners. Donnarumma's had a strong campaign, good save percentage, low goals conceded per game, huge presence, brilliant in 1v1s as we saw in the semis.
And Sommer for Inter, maybe even better stats, higher save percentage, also very few goals conceded. He's known for his agility, really good with low shots. He made some massive saves against Barca.
This is where it gets really tense, isn't it? Donnarumma's going to face those intercept pieces we talked about. Sommer's up against PSG's high XG attack, lots of shots potentially.
It's Donnarumma's 1v1 ability versus Sommer's knack for saving those low drives. And, if it goes all the way, penalties. Both showed they can handle the pressure in the semis.
Absolutely. It might not be the flashiest battle, but a huge save late on, maybe in extra time, or in the shootout itself.
Yeah.
That could be it.
That could literally be the moment that decides who lifts the trophy.
Exactly. A massive 1v1 save from Donnarumma denies Inter. Maybe he sets up a PSG win. Or a brilliant low stop from Sommer frustrates PSG and seals it for Inter. It's that finely balanced.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Look at the big picture, the overall stats and tactics, maybe drawing on some football best moments insights. PSG strengths. Clearly possession, those line-breaking passes, successful dribbles, they score goals, keep clean sheets often.
But the weakness, as we keep saying, is defending set pieces. That's the worry. Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Neves, they drive the strengths.
And Inter. Strengths are that rock-solid defense, very few goals conceded, and they're lethal from set pieces. Good final third passes, too, finding Martinez and Çalhanoğlu.
The potential issue for them is if PSG's possession game just pins them back for long periods, can they find enough outlets?
Looking at the numbers, PSG generally have a higher XG per game, dominant possession more. Football best moments gives them a slightly higher win probability based on those metrics.
But Inter's goals conceded stat is phenomenal, and that set-piece percentage is huge. Their tournament win probability might look lower on paper, but they've shown they can grind out results in tough knockout games.
Yeah.
You can't discount that experience and resilience.
So how does it all come together? All these battles, these tactical approaches. Can PSG's attacking talent break down Inter's defense? Or will Inter's set pieces and counterattacks exploit PSG's vulnerabilities?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Well, Football Best Moments, based on their analysis, are actually predicting a very tight one. PSG 2-1, but after extra time.
Okay, interesting. What's the reasoning?
They figure Kvaratskhelia is likely to create something decisive. Martinez probably scores for Inter, but Marquinhos does enough to limit further damage. And then, crucially, a big save from Donnarumma in extra time swings it for PSG.
That sounds plausible, fits the patterns we discussed, but, the alternative is definitely there. If Çalhanoğlu nails those set pieces, or Martinez is just ruthlessly clinical.
Inter could definitely push it further, maybe even to penalties.
Exactly. And in a shootout, with Sommer's record and experience, that might favor Inter.
So expected game plans. PSG will likely try to use possession, use Kvara and Dembele's dribbling to stretch Inter, press high with Neves, and contain Martinez and Thuram.
And Inter. Probably a compact low block, look for those set-piece moments, and hit PSG fast on the counter with their front two. Seems Dembele should be fit for PSG, and no major injury news from Inter either.
It just sets things up perfectly for a really, really compelling final, doesn't it? The contrast in styles, the star players, the tactical battle between Enrique and Inzaghi.
Absolutely. Promises so much.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for you to think about. Looking at all these key matchups we've broken down, Kvaratskhelia versus Dumfries, Martinez versus Marquinhos, Calhanoglu versus Neves, Dembele versus Dimarco, even the keepers, which one of those individual battles do you think will be the absolute turning point, the one that really decides who lifts that Champions League trophy in Munich? Forget the final score for a second. Which duel holds the key?